Hey, good afternoon. It's Betty, and today I'll be replacing the lower control arm and the strut assembly for this 2008 GMC Sierra. When we're driving it, it kind of gives us the impression that something is just not right under here, and I'm pretty sure it's the ball joints are shot, so the control arm comes with the ball joints already installed, so it's just called a control arm ball joint assembly. And I went and picked up a new one from Autozone, and it's part number CA16332. If you have the same vehicle, but you go there, they'll be able to look up the correct part for you. It's pretty heavy, so hopefully I'll be able to do this by myself. I got some pry bars and pieces of wood to help hold it up for me, and then we also got the loaded shock here, and that's the spring and the shock together. So it's all one piece. It makes it a lot easier. There's no having to compress the springs or anything like that. It's already ready for you. We just take 4 bolts out. There's 3 nuts in the top, and then there's 2 in the bottom, and so this is not that difficult to replace, and so we're just gonna replace them both today. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen these nuts and then jack up the truck and put I got some 4x4s and cribbing I'm gonna put under here to make sure it's good and sturdy, because sometimes it takes a lot of pushing and pulling, and with just the jack stand I get a little bit nervous about it falling off the jack stand. So we'll stack some 4x4s up under there, make sure it's good and steady. Let me get that done and we'll get to work removing these control arms. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray some penetrating oil down around this inside of this ball joint here where it's attached here, so that it will free up, so it'll be a little bit easier to break when I get to that point. And also these bolts here, I'll spray around those because we need to remove, there's 2, one on either side, and that should drop the control arm. Under here there's 2 bolts where the shock is being held, and they have these little clips that I'll just pop off with a screwdriver, but I can do that after the shock is out off of the vehicle. I can just take it over there to the workbench and pull these off. It's just under here is where we'll remove these 2 bolts holding the shock on, and then they're bolted up in here. That will remove these, and so the whole shock will come out. And also I'll have to remove this sway bar link since it's attached to the control arm right here, and that just is a socket under here. Should remove that, and all of these are separate pieces, but I'll keep them all together and just put them back on the new control arm just like they came off. to me it looks like the best thing to do would be to remove the strut assembly first, and so that way I'll get it out of the way completely, so I'll be able to remove the control arm. Since it's bolted to the control arm, if it just wasn't there at all, it'd be a lot easier, because I'm gonna have to do a little bit of prying to get that ball joint out of there, and the more room I have, the easier it'll be. Let's go ahead and pull this out. I looked up inside of the truck from the hood down, and this side is really the driver's side. It's pretty easy to get to, but this side here, it's pretty much like under the battery and everything. So I'm gonna try just to see if I could remove it from under here, because I could see all the nuts just perfectly. If not, I'll have to go up top with a few extensions to get it out that way. But we'll try it this way first. And I'll go ahead and use this jack. It's going to make it harder to remove the shock if there's weight on it, so I'm going to lift this just a little like that. So it's just lightly sitting on there. So when I remove the nuts from the studs up here, it won't just fall out. Sway bar link removed. That was a 9/16 socket that took. And the nuts on the top of the strut were an 18 millimeter. Looks like the bolts on the bottom of the strut are 15 millimeter. So go ahead and remove those and get that strut assembly out of there. Strut assembly out of the way. Now I just need to remove these, one on either side, to get the control arm out of here. These plus the ball joint. So the bolts on the control arms, the nut is a 15/16. That's what I need to use to hold it there. And then the socket for the other side to loosen it is an 18 millimeter. I'll be using my 1/2" Milwaukee impact to remove that. And then we'll remove the one over here. And now it's time to remove the ball joint, and I may need to use a ball joint separator tool. Right now I'm just gonna remove this nut on the end. It's a 15/16 size nut. When you need to replace a ball joint, it is pretty much seized onto this cast iron piece, and so you'll need to use a ball joint separator tool. I have this one, it's part number 27308, and it looks like this. The way it works is you place the top between right at the foot of the ball joint, and then the bottom here should go on the bottom of this, and then when you tighten this, it puts pressure on it and it just pushes it out of here. But this doesn't work on this vehicle because this is too long, and so I have a different tool. And you can rent this at Autozone too. It's they call it the tuning fork, but you just put it between here and then hammer it in, and it should pry them apart. So that's the one I'll be using today. Hopefully I'll be able to get this out of here. Did you see that? We had to put the nut back on the bottom. I hammered the tool in as far as it would go, and it still wasn't breaking. So we put the nut on the bottom of the ball joint and hammered up on it, and that's what broke it free. Now we got the ball joint out, and so I just need to remove those bolts holding the back end of the control arm in. We already removed the nuts. All I need to do is tap them out, and this control arm should jump right out of here. This little washer here you don't want to lose. Right down there by that bolt. I got my other ones for that side here. I see you gotta keep maneuvering this with the jack, lifting it up and down wherever it feels like it's releasing the pressure on what you're working on at the time. And yeah, this ball joint, it's, let me see if I can see if you can hear it. It's loose in there, so that was what was making the clunking sound when we're driving. So the new one is solid in there. It's not going to make that noise anymore. So let me go grab that new control arm and we'll pop that thing on here. Hang on just a minute. The new control arm comes with a little Zerk fitting. Once we get it all together, we'll fill that full of grease. I left it in the sun, so it's really hot, but it's really heavy too. So let me see if I can get this in here. I think you'll have to use some boards. I'll stack them all up so it can hold this control, so the control arm can sit on it. So it's close to where it needs to go, and then I can work on getting it in place that way. I need this pull bar. Oh, come on, yes, it looks right. Ah, yes. Whew. There we go. Washer. Nut. Now that one goes in just right. Nut and washer on that side, and the nut for the ball joint there. Now I'm just gonna go get put a nut on the bottom of the ball joint. Move these boards out of the way now. I'll install the sway bar link back in the new one, and then we will go get the strut assembly and put that back together. Lower this. Let's see if I could do this. Okay, so I gotta get it in here, over there, and then up into here. Bolts it, get some nuts in it to hold it in place. Okay. Now it's in the top, but let me show you. So I gotta see how, okay, I should have put the sway bar link in last because it's holding this control arm up too high. And so I can't get this where it's supposed to go. So let me hurry up and remove this again, or at least loosen it enough for the control arm to go down enough for the assembly, the strut assembly, to fit in there. All right, let's see. Down. Maybe I don't have to take all the way off, just leave it like that. All right, last bolt. Let's see. Yeah, there. There we go. Tight. Well, left the socket on there. Now I need to remember to tighten that sway bar back up, and then tighten the back bolts for the end of that control arm, and I think we'll be done. I got everything tightened except for the nut on the bottom of the ball joint, and it has, I'm tightening it, it's with this 15/16 wrench, but it also takes, what size is this? 5/16, is that a size? 5/16 Allen that goes up on the bottom of the, so I'm gonna do it like this kinda and tighten it. So that's the last thing. Once I get that good and tight, we'll be done. Put the wheel back on and go for a ride. Now the final thing is putting the grease in the ball joint. So I have my grease gun here. This fitting, I'll just pop it right over that Strut and pump it full. Yeah, and you can feel it. You can feel it filling up with grease. And then there's one more fitting right here. I'm just gonna, since I got the grease gun out, I'm just gonna go ahead and fill that one too while I'm at it. Well, I'm pretty beat, but got it done. Got it taken care of. Both sides are done and looking good. So I'm pretty sure that's gonna fix the problem, just because we could feel how loose those ball joints were, how much they rattled when I could just move them by hand, and the new ones I couldn't move at all. So glad we got that taken care of. We're just working step by step to get this truck in the best running condition that it can be. So we just gotta tackle things one by one, and who knows, maybe we'll have it complete one day. So thanks for watching. I hope this was beneficial for somebody, and you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye bye.